Hello, my name is Luke and welcome to our video series. My partner Vincent and I have purchased a historic Adobe home and general store in northern New Mexico along the Camino Real. The intention of this video series is to document the restoration of this home, and hopefully it will be a resource for others who are interested in restoring Adobe homes or are just interested in them. The house itself, we believe, was built around 1900. We believe that because there's milled lumber throughout the building, and lumber mills didn't really come to this area until around the turn of the century. The oldest photograph we have of the house is from 1918. We purchased the house from the original family who built it, but through the generations they've just lost track of exactly when it was built. The Camino Real that I mentioned earlier is the original trade route between Taos, New Mexico and Mexico City, so this would have been a stop along the way. Our intention with the house is to bring it back closer to its original appearance. I'll show you that photograph that we have from 1918 of the house, and that's kind of what we want it to look like again. When the house was built, it would have been built with pretty much entirely local materials. The original features of the house are still fairly intact. The original floors, the original ceiling boards, and the original vigas or beams in the ceiling are all intact, and those are all made from local ponderosa pine. The walls are almost 2 inch or 2 foot thick, and they were made from Adobe blocks that would have been made on the property, so probably from mud that was dug from the backyard of the house. So we hope that you'll follow along as we restore the house. Go ahead and subscribe. We'll be releasing these videos weekly, so we'll see you next week. See the wide plank flooring and the original hand-hewn beams. So these would have been hewn with an axe and an adze. You can see the tool marks there. And then this room was originally the village general store. So you can see the ceilings are pretty tall. This was originally a commercial storefront, and that was changed sometime in the past. But we'll probably bring it back to looking like a commercial storefront again. Underneath this chipboard is the original plank flooring. The previous folks had built this temporary wall bisecting this room, so that will need to be taken down. This is the back of the general store space. This kind of gives you an idea how thick the walls are. They're just about 2 foot thick. And this is another addition. It's an old addition, but it's got some leaks and some cracks in the wall, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to save it or if we're going to rebuild it or what's going to happen. And this leads into another addition and another addition. So this was a laundry room. So it's pretty common on these old Adobe houses for them to get sort of addition after addition. But this is the bathroom addition. You can see the toilet is still hooked up, sort of. but there's a really serious lean to this room. So the house is all structurally stable, except for this room is slumping pretty badly. You can see the previous folks were starting to try to straighten the floor by adding some wood there, and then they're going to flatten it out on top, but then that back corner of the room would be really short, so we're going to have to do something about that. And this is a back room here. You can see the layers and layers of wallpaper, but the original finish was just an earthen plaster, and they wallpapered over that. So you can still see the bits of straw in the earthen plaster. And then the last room is this addition. This addition was put on sometime in the 50s, I believe. And I think it's going to have to come off because it's just a single thickness Adobe, which means that it'll always be a pretty cold or hot room, because you really need thickness with Adobe to create the thermal mass to make it an efficient room. But it does have this beautiful door with a lot of hand carving on it. And we're back into the main room again. This addition was also done, I believe, in the 50s, so that's going to have to come off as well. So now that we've got the wood stove going and we can keep the house warm, I'm going to go ahead and turn the well on so that we can get some water going, because we've just been having to buy water from the little general store down the road. So I'm going to run up to the pump house and flip that on. Our well is actually on another person's property right up here. It's in the middle of their cornfield, so that's kind of how things worked in this part of the country. Is, you know, property lines were pretty shaky, and sometimes you'd have your well in your neighbor's yard. You can see it's a cornfield, and off to the right there is the well pump house, but the switch is on this power pole. So Vincent has started pulling up the old masonite flooring that was over the original plank floors in the front of the general store space where we've kind of set up our living space. And you can see the planks are actually in really good shape. So he's going to continue pulling those up just to make this a little bit more of a pleasant space to be in and to kind of get an idea of what we're working with as far as the floors goes. But these are the original floors for the town's general store.